Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanacharya. Yamuna Tira Vanacharya. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanacharya. Yamuna Tira Vanacharya. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahansa Brahmadakasharya Asadhara Satushi Shiman. His Divine Grace Shalasi Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Harivas Slava Zabrani Bhaktam Slava Shri Guru Shri Garangi. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhute Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tanamane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vacharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi. Om Agyanatvanandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chaksur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapara Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Sha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Vrijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakan Vitam Scha Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanshena Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prashubhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakapa Truvyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranitinanda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2. Divinity, Divine Service, text number 17. Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantaksto Hi Abhajani Vidunoti Saritsatam Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantaksto Hi Abhajani Vidunoti Saritsatam Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Taktoya Bhajani Vidunoti Saritsatam Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantaksto Hi Abhajani Vidunoti Saritsatam Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantaksto Hi Abhajani Vidunoti Saritsatam Shrinvatam, those who have developed the urge to hear the message of Swakata, his own words, Krishna, the personality of Godhead, Punya, virtues, Shravana, hearing, Kirtana, chanting, Hridyantak, sta, within one's heart, he certainly, abhadrani, desire to enjoy matter, vidunoti, cleanses, sarit, benefactor, satam, of the truthful. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul, in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses the desire for material enjoyment, the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous and properly heard and chanted. Please repeat. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul, in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses the desire for material enjoyment, the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Purport. Messages of the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, are none different from him. Whenever, therefore, offenseless hearing and glorification of God are undertaken, it is to be understood that Lord Krishna is present there in the form of transcendental sound, which is as powerful as the Lord personally. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shikshastika declares clearly that the holy name of the Lord has all the potencies of the Lord, and that he has endowed his innumerable names with the same potency. There is no rigid fixture of time, and anyone can chant the holy name with attention and reverence at his convenience. The Lord is so kind to us that he can be present before us personally in the form of transcendental sound. But unfortunately, we have no taste for hearing and glorifying the Lord, his name and activity. We have already discussed developing a taste for hearing and chanting a holy sound. It is done through the medium of service to the pure devotees of the Lord. The Lord is reciprocally respondent to his devotees. When he sees their devotees completely sincere in getting admittance to the transcendental service of the Lord, and has thus become eager to hear about him, the Lord acts from within the devotee in such a way that the devotee may easily go back to him. The Lord is more anxious to take us back into his kingdom than we can desire. Most of us do not desire at all to go back to Godhead. Only very few men want to go back to Godhead. But anyone who desires to go back to Godhead, Sri Krishna helps in all respects. One cannot enter into the kingdom of God unless one is perfectly cleansed of all sins. The material sins are products of our desires to lord it over material nature. It is very difficult to get rid of such desires. Women and wealth are very difficult problems for the devotee making progress on the path back to Godhead. Many stalwarts in the devotional line fell victim to these allurements and thus retreated from the path of liberation. But when one is helped by the Lord himself, the whole process becomes as easy as anything by the divine grace of the Lord. To become restless in the contact of women and wealth is not an astonishment, because every living being is associated with such things from a remote time, practically immemorial. It takes time to recover from this foreign nature. But if one is engaged in hearing the glories of the Lord, gradually he realizes his real position. With the grace of God, such a devotee gets sufficient strength to defend himself from the state of disturbances, and gradually all disturbing elements are eliminated from his mind. So the text again. Shinvatam swakata Krishna punya shravanam kirtana vedantakstau hi abhajani vidunoti saritsatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, was the Paramatma supersoul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous and properly heard and chanted. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paskadyade Sitarne. As usual, the Bhagavatam is a assimilation of the knowledge found in Bhagavad Gita. In the Chatur Sloki verses of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna begins with, in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, with a verse, Aham sarvasya pravo matak sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. So, Buddha bhava samanvita means with great attention. What? With great attention. Aham sarvasya pravo. That I am the source of all the material and spiritual worlds. For me, the entire creation is flowing. The wise who know this perfectly engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their heart, with full attention. Or Srila Prabhupada says the art of Krishna consciousness is the art of focusing one's attention and then giving one's love to Krishna. So first we have to focus our attention on what? Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna. Every day hearing about Krishna. And by doing it, Punya Shravanam Kirtana. This is Punya Shravana. This is pious hearing. This is Punya Shravana Kirtana. Rindyan Takstu Bhajani. So Krishna says he cleanses the heart. Machita Machkata Prana Bodhayantash Parashparam Katayantasvam Nityam Tushanti Cha Ramanti Cha. It is not a mechanical process, in other words. There's a personality within a heart, and either he can order the material nature to cover our consciousness, or he can order the material nature to free us from material consciousness. Or as Krishna says, Nadate Kasyachet Papam, Na Papam Sukritim Vibhu, Nena Devrita. Nadate Kasyachet Papam, Na Papam Sukritim Vibhum. No what? Agyane Nabrita Gyanam. Kena Muyanti Jantava. Nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. Body beings, however, bewildered because of the ignorance which covers their real knowledge. Agyananvita Gyanam. So, that's our choice. Either we're hearing about Krishna, and by hearing about Krishna we're associating with him. Hearing doesn't mean only externally, we can also hear internally. For instance, there was one Brahmin who was heard from a reliable source during a conference that just by meditation on Krishna, that one can actually perform deity worship and get the same result as if one was physically doing it. So every day he would go to the bank of the Jamuna, and there he would perform pranayama. As Prabhupada said, previously pranayama was a standard practice to concentrate the mind. And he'd sit there and within his mind, he'd go to the Jamuna, the Saraswati, Kumari, and other sacred rivers, and in golden and silver pots, he'd gather water. And then he'd come back and do abhishek to his deities that he installed within his mind. Then he dressed the deities, he ornamented the deities, he garlanded the deities, and he offered food to the deities that he personally cooked within his mind. So he did this for many, many years. And then one day when he was cooking sweet rice, he wanted to find out if the sweet rice was suitable to offer to the Lord, because within his mind, he had just cooked it, and generally speaking, sweet rice is much better when it's cold. If you take sweet rice when it's hot in India, during the hot weather, you'll get diarrhea. So sweet rice should be taken cold. So he wanted to test the sweet rice, so he touched the pot to see if it was cold or not, and he burnt his finger. And in Vaikuntha, Lord Narayan was laughing, and the Lakshmis were wondering, what is Lord Narayan laughing about? And Lord Narayan called for his Vaikuntha airplane to come to pick the Brahmin up, to take him back to Vaikuntha. And when the Brahmin was in the Vaikuntha, he told the story to the satisfaction of Lord Narayan and the Lakshmis there. In other words, we can also hear about Krishna within our minds. As a matter of fact, everything we're doing is more or less a product of hearing. Even when we're working with this body, more or less this body is vibrational. It's made out of what seems to be earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. But actually it's a vibration of Brahman. and according to our desire, according to Krishna's arrangement, then this body is doing different things, but it's just a vibration based upon what we've heard and what we've accepted and what we're desiring to do. And then Krishna arranges material nature to vibrate in this way in our different activities. So everything is a product of hearing. If we hear about material activities, then we'll do material activities. If we hear about spiritual activities, we'll do spiritual activities, which are maybe the same, but it's a different consciousness. In other words, spiritual activities are simply directed towards pleasing Krishna, while material activities are directed towards satisfying our senses without any reference to Krishna consciousness. Therefore, unless we hear about Krishna, we've already heard about everything else in this universe since time immemorial. The glories of, as Parikshit Maharaj said, when he asked Shukadeva Goswami, as he was asking everyone who was present before his death, when he was assembled on the bank of the Jamuna or the Ganges, depending how you look at it, and he was asking, what is my duty that I'm about to die? Of course, none of us think we're about to die, so we're not so much interested in what Shukadeva Goswami answered. Of course, he was sitting there and the sages said, well, maybe you should do a little yoga practice. I know your body's a little stiff, so maybe you should do a little yoga, and then when you leave your body, at least you'll be healthy. Others said that maybe you should speculate for a while. You have 7 days to speculate. Maybe we'll come up with a good answer. But Parikshit Maharaj wasn't satisfied with all these different answers, even the sages who assembled, until Shukadeva Goswami came. And there he asked Shukadeva Goswami, what is the duty of a person who's about to die? And Shukadeva Goswami said, Varyan Eshate Prashna Krita Lokahita Ripaha Atmavet Samata Punsam Shotavyadishu Yakparaha. That this question is actually glorious, such a simple question. If you ask this question to literary professors at a university, they'll think you're crazy. Maybe you're threatening them. My dear professor, what is our duty that you're about to die? Immediately they get the phone, there's a terrorist in my classroom. Please send the SWAT team to take care of him. Because people don't ask such questions. They're considered impolite. If you go up to people in the street, and it says that this book answers the question of what your duty is that now that you're about to die. They go, what? What do you mean I'm about to die? I'm not about to die. I'm too young to die. So Shukadeva Goswami appreciated the question. He said, this is glorious. This is the actual question that will benefit everyone. That generally everyone's asking questions and getting answers. Shodavyadishi Rajandra, Srinam Shanti Sahasra Shaha, Apashitam Atmatatvam, Griheshu Grihamedinam. People have hundreds and thousands of questions, and they're getting hundreds and thousands of answers. The whole libraries are full of people asking questions and getting answers. The internet is full of questions and answers. And what are they about? How can they be summarized? Nidraya riyate naktam vavavayena chavavayam. Nidraya riyate naktam vavavayena chavavayam. Divya charteya rajan katumba bharanenava. During the day, people are asking about what's the best sleeping posture? What's the best pillow to buy? What's the best mattress? People spend literally thousands of euros to get a good mattress. Because after all, they say, most of my life is asleep anyhow, so I might as well be comfortable when I'm asleep. Has anyone woken up thinking, has anyone ever remembered being comfortable when they were asleep? If you're asleep, you're asleep. If you look at a dog, he's not sleeping on a comfortable mattress. And yet he's probably more peaceful and restful than any of us can be. Nidriya ritena vavavayena. And if one can have sex life before he goes to sleep or in one's dreams, one's life is perfect. It's complete. Divya charate arara. But it costs money to get a good mattress. So you have to work. And then you have to go shopping for it. You have to go on the internet and do a research for 10 years to find out what the best mattress is. For the best of everything in the material world. So that's what people are asking questions about. And what is the result? Why are they doing it? Deha patya kalatradishu atma saneshva satsupi tesham pramano nindanam pashanapina pashiti. They're worrying about dying. They're worrying about leaving their body, how they can prolong this life as long as possible. Same thing we've been doing since time immemorial, unsuccessfully, trying to prolong our life. And therefore, deha, we're trying to protect the body. Patra, and the children. Kaladra, the wife. And if you have a body, and you have a wife, and you have children, adishu, you have to have so many other things. Pumsa, striya, maituni, pavani, tam, turamriti, granti mahu, ato griya, shetra, sutapta, vitera, janasya, moho, yam, ahang, mameti. Then you need a building. You need a place to put all these things. And then you got to have a job, because it's very expensive having a building nowadays. Just renting a building in Ljubljana means you have to have 2 jobs. You have to work. Your children have to work. You have to hire out your dog as a guard. The whole family has to work. Ato griha kshetra suptapta vitera. You need bank balance. You need enough money to buy things to eat, to decorate everyone, so they look like they're coming from the spirit, from the demigods. But what's the problem? All this endeavor, Sanyeshu, all these soldiers you're creating and arming, they're fallible. They have to die too. How can they protect you if they're going to die? When Hiranyakashipu asked for the benediction, give me a benediction, I won't die. But Brahma said, I have to die too. I only live for 311 trillion, 40 billion years, and I'm into old age already. I'm 50 years old. I've already lived 150 trillion years, and I'm going to die soon. So how can I give you immortality? It's impossible in this world. Yet everyone's trying for it. Everyone's trying to squeeze a few extra years out of this body. And what is the solution? People laugh when we tell them the solution. This is ridiculous. Tasma Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari Shrotavyas Kirtitavyas Cha Smartavyak Chehitarvaya. That one should hear, chant, and remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the solution to all the problems. Imagine going to the UN. You're invited to the UN, the United Nations, to give a talk on solving world problems. And what do you say? Well, we have a Bhagavad Gita for everyone here at the United Nations. And we're going to offer half price today because it's our Padayatra marathon. This will solve all your problems. Hear, chant, and remember Krishna, and everything will be all right. And all the politicians, and they say, no, we won't buy it at half price. We want to pay twice the price. It's such a valuable book. No, they'll think these people are crazy. Get them out of here. How did they ever get in here? They're religious fanatics. Hear, chant, and remember Krishna. That will solve all the world problems. We spend trillions of dollars every year to solve the world problems, and they're saying it's only going to cost us 20 euros to solve all the world's problems. That's ridiculous. Therefore, in the te vidu swartikatim hi Vishnu, they have no idea what the value of Krishna is. Darashaya ye bahi artamanina. They're simply taking something valuable, which is actually insignificant. All the attempts to solve their problems, to live a little bit longer in this dead body, they're willing to spend trillions of dollars on, but they won't give 10 euros for a Bhagavad Gita. What to speak of a collection of Srimad Bhagavatam? Because they're under the spell of the illusory energy. They're imagining that something other than Krishna will actually solve their problems. They're thinking that something other than Krishna, hearing about Krishna, is actually valuable. Something other than Krishna is living according to Krishna's instructions. When we live according to Krishna's instructions, we're manifesting what we heard. And if we don't manifest what we heard, we haven't heard anything. Or at least we haven't accepted what we heard. Therefore, one can go on for millions of years chanting Hare Krishna, but if one doesn't accept the holy name, if one doesn't accept Krishna's position, then he won't get love of God. He won't develop the urge to actually hear anymore, because one is not taking it very seriously. One may be going chanting something that appears to be the holy name, but it's actually not the holy name. The holy name only manifests according to someone who has bhakti. And bhakti begins with paying attention. So if we don't pay attention to the holy name, we must be paying attention to something else. That's where our desire is going. After all, the soul can only desire. And if he wants to desire Krishna, then he has to hear from the right source with the right attitude and allow Krishna to enter into his heart so he can actually purify the heart. And one can experience Krishna's presence. And therefore, only by experiencing Krishna's presence, the higher taste, can one actually come to the platform of nishta, or liberation. What is that verse? Vishaya vinivartante, nirharasidehina, rasavarjam rasopyasya, param drishva nivartate. The embodied soul, and we happen to be embodied souls, so this has something to do with us. Not these poor people out there, they're embodied souls, but we're all liberated here. No, we're also embodied souls, most of us, if not all of us. And we may be restricted from sense enjoyment. So Prabhupada writes here, women and wealth. It's not that we joined the Hare Krishna movement, we shaved our head, we changed our dress and our address, and now we're freed from sex desire and from all insecurity, and therefore we have no desire for wealth. Let someone come and take everything I have and leave me naked. I'm perfectly satisfied with that. I have no desire for anything in this world. No, we're not fixed in consciousness until we're actually fully conscious of Krishna. And the two things, women and wealth. Then in the Varnashram system, there's Dharma. But what is Dharma? What is actually religiosity? Does it mean to go to the temple every day and pray some hymns? Dear God, please give us our daily chapatis. And if there's a little pizza involved, then you're really kind to us today. No, real Dharma is to get free from sinful activities, to become purified and engage in Krishna's service. Therefore, Dharma is to regulate our economic development. That is to realize that everything here belongs to Krishna. That's economic development. To accept whatever Krishna gives us as our quota. Ishvara, what is that verse from the Ishupanishad? About Ishvara, Ishavashamidam sarvam yak kinjat kajat kamyagat tena tatena bunjitaha swak makish kachit kachit swidanam. That everything in the world is owned and controlled by the Supreme Lord, and therefore one should accept his quota that's necessary for himself, and one should not accept other things knowing well to whom they belong. So that's artha. And then artha is meant for properly gratifying our senses as required, so that we can actually become liberated from material consciousness. So that's what we're hearing about. How to see everything in relation to Krishna and utilize everything in relation to Krishna, so that we gratify our senses subtly and grossly, just as necessary. And then we can actually think about Krishna with a clear mind, with a clear understanding, and therefore become liberated from all material conceptions. Then Krishna purifies our heart. That's what we're hearing about. And even at the beginning, we don't give up our desires, we don't give up our misconceptions. Still a little bit we give up. Then tu shanti. Then we feel some satisfaction that we're actually making some progress. My mind is not disturbing me to the same extent it was disturbing me yesterday. So therefore I feel a little satisfaction that I'm going back, I'm becoming purified, I'm making a little bit of progress every day, and therefore eventually I'll come to the perfection, a ramanti. I'll be ecstatic when I hear about Krishna. It may not happen overnight, but then it's supposed to be gradual. Because saritsatam, it's the Supreme Lord who notices our desire, not necessarily just our activity, but our desire to do the right thing, how we're trying to do the right thing, how we're trying to hear, how we're trying to repeat, how we're trying to serve. So Krishna notices that, and he helps us by giving Didami Buddhi Yogam Tam, by giving us the theoretical knowledge, by giving us the realizations, and then by actually giving us the cleansing our heart, so that Krishna appears within our heart, and we get the higher taste of Krishna consciousness, so that we don't become attracted to things that are less important. So that's a gradual process, but it happens gradually every day. Otherwise, here in the temple, we're very fortunate because we have an opportunity to come and hear every day. While others who are living on the outside, even they're wanting to become devotees, due to their being distracted by so many different things, they sometimes don't have a morning program every day. They don't hear about Krishna every day. And therefore Krishna goes from a theory to a non-existent after some time. Unless we're struggling to become Krishna conscious, we're going to have to struggle for material existence. So we shouldn't take it for granted that this great opportunity we have to hear about Krishna every day. Someone's going to sit here on the Vyasasan and say something about Krishna. We're not going to have a seminar on bitcoins or on the price of gold, whatever. We're not going to explain what's the best mattress to buy so we can sleep peacefully in the ashram. I don't think. No, we'll hear about Krishna every day. And that way, gradually, we'll make progress towards our supreme goal of life, to actually become conscious of Krishna, the person who's unlimitedly attractive and unlimitedly kind and loving, who's our best friend. We'll actually get to meet him, and all our problems will be solved. So I'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions, comments? Yes. They must have taken the microphone or something. I'll repeat it. Thank you for the inspiring lecture. How to listen attentively if our minds want to go here and there, how to actually focus. Well, say you're walking a dog. Did you ever have a dog? Yeah, yeah. So say you're walking the dog and the dog wants to go here and there. Do you usually go here and there with the dog? No, you pull the dog back. You got to keep the dog under control. If you don't, it's going to pull you here and there. So similarly with the mind, if we think the mind, I'm the mind, then you'll go wherever the mind, if you think you're the dog, or I got to serve my dog, I'm here just to serve my dog, then you'll go wherever the dog goes. Similarly, when our mind wants to go to places where it's not supposed to go, we shouldn't go along with it. We should pull it back to hear about Krishna. Or even if it goes there, we shouldn't go with wherever it's going. It's going to go there and just disappear. The mind is not exactly, the mind goes boo. And we go, oh my God, the mind said boo. That's really serious. But even if it goes boo, boo, it's not doing anything. Let it go boo and just ignore it. And don't go boo, and it goes boo, and you go boo. Don't fight the mind either. Don't go boo back to the mind. Just let it go boo, and after a while it gets tired of going boo. And then you can think about Krishna easily. Anything else? Kuala Grandaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande.